Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are checking out Jam Jam, an original song by Kanae. Now, we have checked him out on this channel before, but this just dropped pretty recently, and I'm excited to check this out. It's a brand new original song, so let's jump into things, see what it's all about in 3, 2, 1, play. Ooh, alright. Alright, I like the vibe. Okay, so already we're jumping off the bat with 2 harmonizations. And not only do we have a lower harmonization, we also have a treble-based higher harmonization as well. Okay. Wow. Okay, I really like this. You know, with the vocal tonality itself is a very it's pretty nasally. It's a very nasally actually. But because we've got all these vocal tracks and we're adding this reverb to them, and it's so full and resounding with all these tracks, it kind of counters the nasalness or the nasal quality of the vocal timbre that we have right here. And we also have that, you know, almost a jazzy instrumentation in the back, but it's on the down low. Really, the vocals are taking the forefront of this mix, all like by far. Ooh. That's nice. Ooh, nice. Nice. I really like these quick little jumps up high and then coming back down low to kind of match where the horns are. And if I'm correct, that sounds like a muted trumpet in the back, though that could just be digital. I'm not too sure, but that sounds really good. I actually really like that. That was see all we did was pull out the vocal. See, normally for these like interjections you'd have an instrumentation pull out or something, though this is like more of an intermission than one of those like pull out moments. But what I'm talking about is it's just we're so vocal heavy. The song is very vocal heavy. This is like a good a cappella song because all we're really doing is keeping the beat. We're really just reinforcing the percussion with those horns and those brass elements in there. And so, you know, you can do that without the percussion necessarily. It's just the percussion really drives the beat. And so this is a very good a cappella song, and it's done very well. I actually really like how the vocals are mixed here. That sounds really good. The vocals, you know, it's just the right amount of, you know, softness in terms of the EQ work, but it's still a right amount of intensity and flair in the way the vocals are projected. You know, it's a good mix between how the vocals are mixed and how the vocals are sung. It's very satisfying. Ooh, we have a synth right there. Huh. Ooh, nice. Nice. Okay, so right here, we're really pushing the lower tones of the vocals now. You know, we're really going down low. We're getting a little more centered around, you know, that lower chest, that abdominal support there. And I feel the reason why we introduced that treble bass synth is to match that, really. So, and now that we have the beat kind of being reinforced by those treble tonalities on the synth, and I say treble tonalities, but maybe it's more accurate to just say the higher pitches with the synth, right? And now when we're dipping down low with the vocals, it doesn't feel like we're missing part of the mix that we had before. Now, you know, with that synth, it feels like we're still evenly distributed across the mix. I love that. Ooh, okay. Okay. I was not expecting that. Yeah, okay, you know, funnily enough, I was about to say I just wish there's a bit of a switch up or some addition to the instrumentation, because you know we had one loop of this like chorus, and then on our second loop of the chorus, the only thing we've really done is add like a very subtle synth into the instrumentation. But because we're so vocal heavy, you know, all that synth really did was balance the mix, but we didn't really have any progression at it. So instead of adding like maybe like a string track every now and then for emphasis, for impact across the chorus, instead we have the switch up afterwards. And so that's where we have progression. That's where we have our variation. Instead of having it more mixed into what we had our chorus as, we made it a different segment of the song. Some people like that, some people don't. I'm kind of, it depends on song to song. Wow. Those are, if I'm not mistaken, those are vocals, right? Like the bass, like basically the bass track. I believe those are vocals, right? That's just like him humming or like doing like a vowel sustain. I don't know if those like a low ooh. I don't know if that's like his voice doing that, or if that's like a choral keyboard effect or a synth. That sounds like he's doing that. Yeah, that was definitely a vocal track. The moment you hear the horns really come back up in the mix on the instrumentation, you could definitely tell that was a vocal track. So again, we're going a very, very vocal heavy with this song. You know, we are not relying on the instrumentation the way you'd expect a song to, which is fun. That's honestly very fun, and it's a good way to take this sort of genre and this fun little bop and make it an original. It is focusing so much on these, you know, vocal flares, these vocal backings, really. I mean, the backing vocals are making the song, partially because there's so many of them and they're mixed so high in the song. Their volume is unusually loud in the song. So getting that, it adds Kanae's, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, Kanae's own flavor to this song. It's his own style with the song, and that's a really good thing to have. I like that dip down low. I love those little treble-based interjections. Nice. I like that. Da-na-na-na, in the instrumentation, and the instrumentation definitely sounds a bit louder here as well. But that da-na-na-na, I love that little line there. It's kind of a classic line. You know, you'll hear a very similar sounding lines in a lot of things, but you know, it's very nice. I still really like the way it's mixed into this. I love those lifted vocals. Again, the switch up is very odd to me, but I like that there is a switch up. But like this switch up, it feels so foreign to the style of the song before. Alright, are we just gonna close with instrumentation now? Yeah, we're putting like credits and stuff. So it seems like we're closing out with the instrumentation breakdown. Okay. Solid. That was really solid. It seems like we closed out with that instrumentation and breakdown, which I think, you know, personally, I'm not the hugest fan of this instrumentation breakdown where you just like pump the bass and then have like a treble bass synth have like a looping little melody. But I think because we used it as a switch up before, it was definitely a good call to reference it again. Because if we didn't reference it again, then that switch up becomes even more foreign than it already was to the style of the song. Because, you know, previously we've got this Skullgirls OST aesthetic, and then we have that switch up. And so when you have that interjection that's so different, you know, unless you really, really want to highlight that moment, I think it's a good call to have another set of that instrumentation, so that way it becomes more integrated into your song rather than just having this like other random interjection that sounded like it could have been for a different song, and you just like scrap that song so you plug it in. You know, you don't want it to sound like that, even if that is what you do, because that's what a lot of artists do. But you don't want it, you never want it to sound like that. You always want it to sound cohesive, and I think that was successful here. I think they did a great job of making that different song segment cohesive with the rest of it. And you know, a lot of it is due to the vocal tracks, because the vocals here made the song, which for a song in this genre, this all like jazzy style, you know, I feel it's almost rare to really feel like the vocals made the foundation of the song, because generally it's very reliant on, you know, those brass interjections, sometimes guitar, and then a lot of drums. You know, the drums and the brass are really generally the backbone of it. And the bass as well. You know, you need a good bass if you're going to have a bass. If you don't include a bass in like a jazz based song, it's okay, but you're probably gonna go for something more modern with like a digital bass rather than, you know, a bass guitar, because you generally want bass tones in a jazz aesthetic, because that makes it a little bit funky. It keeps the beat, it matches the drums and makes it cohesive with the melodies. You know, it's important. But a lot of those instrumentation roles, those binding roles in the mix, were fulfilled by Kanae's voice here, which was really unique. I actually really liked that. I personally think that they definitely could have gone for more instrumentals. You know, maybe add like a couple like guitar tracks, just to, not overwhelmingly, but just, you know, maybe a couple like little rhythm sections to kind of add to the progression of the song. But aside from that, I mean, this was super solid, and a lot of that progression was added through like synths, which I think was definitely the right call because of that switch up we had with instrumentation, where it got like all digital and like a bass boosted. I think it was definitely a good call to use synths, because that way it also made that segment of the song more cohesive with the rest of it as well. So overall, solid composition, solid vocals. I really like that, and I loved that like all of the vocal lifts we got into like Kanae's head voice, if just for like a little moment and then come back down. I mean, those were super satisfying, and those keep you hooked. I love it when songs do that. So yeah, aside from that, I think this was an excellent drop from Kanae, and I'm excited to see what else he comes out with. So thank you very much for watching. As always, feel free to recommend more in the comments below. Aside from that, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much.